Hello, second graders. Yesterday in English, we completed workbook page 51. We learned about a couplet and what that means. And just a reminder, it's a poem made of two sentences that rhyme. And we talked about those rhyming words coming at the end of the sentence. And we had found that our example, it was, I built a snowman under a tree. I gave him eyes so that he could see. And tree and see were the words that rhymed. Okay, and then we had to come up with some rhyming words here. And then we started writing our draft. So the snowman wore a black hat. On its head is where it sat. And I circled the words that rhymed. Okay, now today we're going to be starting to follow this writing process. And I think we can safely say that we planned and we drafted yesterday, right? Today's step is going to be revise. Okay, and actually in second grade it's a little bit different, okay, than third and fourth grade, because in second grade you're kind of revising, proofreading all in one big step, even though it's broken down because it's only two sentences. In third and fourth grade you're going to have paragraphs where you have 5 and 6 sentences in each paragraph, so it gets to be a little bit more complicated and a little bit more work. Nothing you can handle, but for right now, we're kind of rolling these into one big step. So revise just means, are there any other colorful words we can add? So I'm on page 52 in your workbook. If you don't have that out, go ahead and get it out. If you already have it out, you may rip it out of your book ready to go. So the first step is to revise the couplet by adding colorful words. And we are going to change it up just a little bit today. So you're going to write what Mrs. Connor writes. Then we're going to proofread it by making sure everything's capital letters. We have the proper punctuation marks, and we're checking for spelling mistakes. And then the last step is to publish the couplet with that you wrote with your teacher right down here. And when we do a final published copy, this should be our most neatest example, right? What should it be? Our most neatest example, Mrs. Connor. Very good. And then at the bottom is your favorite part as second graders. You get to draw a picture that goes with your couplet. You may use markers, crayons, colored pencils, whatever you have at home. And draw me a picture that goes with what we wrote about, okay? So what we're going to do today is we're going to make our sentences just a little bit more colorful. And how we're going to do that, and you're going to write with me, is we're going to just add a little bit different. So instead of starting our sentence, we kind of said, the snowman wore a black hat. Today we're going to write, and I'm going to switch colors here. Let me get, okay, we're going to write, our friend the snowman wore a black hat. So you might have to write a little bit smaller to get it all on that line. So we're going to write, our friend the snowman wore a black hat. Mrs. Connor's running out of room. And I'm just gonna zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to go over a little bit. That's okay. Okay, make sure my period's kind of right by my T, but that's okay. Then the second line, if we look back to the other one, was on its head is where it sat. What we're going to write is on its cold head. That's the only change. We're just adding a word. On its cold head is where Now, I don't want you, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. You can copy that while I talk. I don't want you circling the words today because this was supposed to be our final copy. So and if you think back to what we wrote, the snowman wore a black hat. On its head is where it sat. We just made it sound a little bit more professional, okay? Because you guys are big second graders now. So we're making this a little bit more fancy. So our friend, the snowman, wore a black hat. On its cold head is where it sat. Okay? Now, if you remember back to this page, we had a picture up here. And this was what they had come up with. And that's just what the curriculum said. But you have the freedom of drawing whatever picture you want that goes with what we wrote. So I would draw a snowman, my friends, with wearing what color hat? A black hat. And then I would maybe draw some snow, because if it's on its cold head, it's got to be pretty cold if we're building a snowman. And I would put it on its head. Now you can draw other things if you want to draw a big winter scene and trees, and maybe you're out with sled riding, or you're building a snow family. Whatever you want to draw, this is your paper. Now before we do that, I want us to go back up here, or I'm sorry, back to so we revised everything, right? We added some more colorful words, right? Now we need to go back and proofread. So let's go back and let's see, do we have capital letters where we need? Yep, our friend, the snowman, and we didn't give him a name, so we don't need anything. And we have punctuation. Oh, at the end, there's my period again in red. Okay, so I think we're good there. Friend, the snowman, wore a black. Everything looks spelled right. Then at the next sentence, it starts with a big letter, right? Uppercase, so that looks good. On its cold head is where it sat. And we have punctuation at the end, and we added more colorful words. So I think we're good to go back, and we proofread. So we checked for capital letters, punctuation, and spelling. And then we kind of wrote that as our final copy. So we're done with that. Now all you have to do is the picture and then turn it in. And no homework tonight. All you had was the rhyming sheet yesterday, and you had yesterday, tonight, and it's due tomorrow at some point, okay, if you didn't turn it in already. And that's it for today, my friends. Take care.